Welcome to Nash Lakes Royston. It's a lake I used to visit loads of times in the past. I've not been here for a number of years. Since then, however, it's come on leaps and bounds, and there's so many 30-pound plus fish in here. So I thought I had to come back here for this session where we are going to fish, but also we're going to look at the new deeper Quest bait boat. So we've got two things to cover really in this session. Hopefully catch a carp and also look at that new bait boat. I'm in a swim that I've fished quite a few times in the past and caught from, and it looks like there's fish in the area. There's a nice plateau to my left, which I'm going to find with that bait boat, get a rod on it as soon as I can. Have a think about where I'm going to put those other rods, but I think we've got a good chance of catching. I want to get the rods out, get sorted, because conditions are looking perfect for this swim, and I don't want to waste any time. That was a carp, just boshed out this side of the plateau as well, which means that they're in this area. There's a lot of people fishing here at the minute, and they do move around with line pressure, but there's no one in this corner where I'm fishing or in that corner, which means I think a lot of the fishing will move down here. So it's a good sign before we've even got a rod in the water. So there's a fish, that little banana, there we go, there's fish right now. I think that's where we'll drop it. So I got that first rod out as quick as I could on the plateau spot that I know's out there where I'd seen a few fish show already. But what I actually did was, as soon as I dropped that rod, instead of bringing the bait boat straight back to me, I drove it around, and using the sonar I found a few areas where near where I'd seen fish show and where I was happy with the presentation over the bottom, and I've marked those spots in the GPS. So all I had to do was bring the bait boat back. I've got those spots marked, and now as you load up the rig, put a bit of bait in, I can autopilot out to that spot. It'll go straight out there, and that's a really simple case of just getting those remaining two rods out. I'm going to keep them in these positions for 2 or 3 hours, especially with the sun up at the moment. I think it's a really good time to get bites on that plateau. But if I see fish showing, then I will be happy to move them. I'm not committing too much, I'm not putting loads of bait in, and it really is a simple case of, if I think that there's a better spot out there, whipping a rod in, putting the rig back in the bait boat and driving it out with a little bit of bait and dropping it again. Okay, that is 3 rods fishing. Going to keep an eye on the water, see if we see anything that shows to make us move a rod, but for the time being, let's sit back, see if we can get a bite. Okay, let's talk about bait boats. Now, I know bait boat fishing isn't for everyone, but if you do it, it's really important that you've got a bait boat that suits you and your angling needs. For me, I've been using the new Quest deeper bait boat for about 6 months now, and I absolutely love it. It's the best bait boat I've ever used. I'm going to run through a couple of features that stand out to me on this bait boat. So first up is the quality of the sonar. In a modern bait boat, I think it's so important to have a really good quality sonar. That's exactly what is in the Quest bait boat. It uses a built-in chirp sonar, which gives you so much information, whether that's lake bed composition, lake bed hardness. It even gives you a lot of information when it comes to finding fish. For me, the sonar is excellent, and that's so important in a bait boat. Secondly, it's the range. There's nothing more annoying than when you found that spot at quite a bit of distance, you're trying to get the rod out there, and all of a sudden you lose connection to your bait boat. Deeper say that you can use this bait boat up to 400 meters, but personally, I've used that even longer. So in those rare instances where you're dropping at mega distances, you don't have to worry that the deeper bait boat is going to lose signal. The third feature I love about the Deeper Quest is the autopilot feature. Whether this is for when I've just arrived at a lake and I want to map out my swim, or once I've found my spot, I want to ensure I accurately drop that rod in the exact same position again, the autopilot feature is excellent, and it's something that I use loads and loads in my fishing when I'm using the Deeper Quest. The fourth thing I love about the Deeper Quest is just the quality of it. It's built so well, it's not heavy at all. It surprises me whenever I pick it up about how light it is. A lot of modern bait boats can be extremely heavy with all that tech built in, but these are less than 8 kilos. And also, everything sort of slots into place really, really nicely. The batteries inside, they come in and out. When you open it up, there's no wires everywhere all over the place. For me, the build quality on this is really thought out. It's thought with anglers in mind first, and that's a huge plus point for the Deeper Quest. And the final thing to mention about the Deeper Quest is just how easy it is to use. When I first got this, I said to myself, right, I'm going to see how easily I can set the bait boat up. And within 10 minutes, without looking at any instructions online, I had it all going on my phone, no problems whatsoever. And I'm yet to have any moments where something's gone wrong, I'm not really sure what's happening, I'm losing connection, anything like that. It's so simple and straightforward to use, which if you're a technophobe or if you've had any difficulties with bait boats in the past, you know there's nothing more frustrating when something happens, something you weren't expecting, and it just becomes quite a complicated tool to use in your fishing. That's not the case with the Deeper Quest. So straightforward, so easy to use, and that is a massive plus point for me. Yes! Well, we're just finishing off our talk about the Deeper Quest there, and if it wasn't for the fact we had to get a few B-roll shots, I probably would have reeled this rod in to redo it. It's absolutely ripped off, and we're into the first fish of the session. I've been watching them on the little plateau. Well, I knew they'd be today, and they've been fizzing up over me, and I really thought I should have had a bite a bit sooner than I had done. Thankfully, the rod has eventually gone. Do me in these lily pads. Oh. Whew. That bite was amazing, wasn't it? Oh, you got some of that on camera. It was absolutely ripping off. Well, it is by no means a big one, but a pretty little mirror, and I'm very thankful for it because we've seen a lot of fish over that spot today, and I was starting to pull my hair out as to why I hadn't had a bite. So going into this evening with a fish already under our belts, yeah, it's eased my mind a little bit. We get this rod back out, fresh load of bait with the Deeper Quest, and fingers crossed we get a little bit more action throughout the night. Unfortunately, this morning's sequence doesn't end with me lifting a sling out and showing you a massive Royston mirror. It was very quiet last night. Well, I say that, it was classic autumn, all show, no go. I could hear them sloshing out throughout the hours of darkness, but sadly the R4s didn't make a sound. It is a beautiful autumn morning, but with that has come a bit of a thick fog, and as we all know, that's not the best conditions for fishing. I'm hoping that the sun burns through soon and maybe we'll get that morning bite. If not, I'm going to redo them at some point. and stick it out till about midday and see if we can nick one more bite. But yeah, it's not looking great. We'll see what happens, fingers crossed. Hopefully we'll nick one more bite. So I'm just going to walk you through how easy it is with the Quest bait boat to find a spot, save that spot, and then that will allow you to automatically send the Quest bait boat back out again to that spot. So I'm already connected to the app. The boat's gone out there in the water. On the screen, on one side, I've got a map of the lake. On the other side, I've got my actual echo. What I'm doing in this situation is I'm going out to an area where I've seen fish bubbling away. I want to find an area that's presentable. At this point, when I'm in the area where the fish were, where I want to find a spot, I'm looking at the echo sounder. And this is giving me all the information I need, telling me what's on the bottom. It's basically like a super advanced marker leading setup. I've got all that information there, depths, lake hardness, whether there's fish in the area. It is a useful bit of kit. It does take a little bit of getting used to, but out of all the echoes out there, the deeper one for me is one of the easiest to understand. Once I find an area that I like, right now I found a raised hump, quite a firm bottom. I've got a bit of white feedback on the echo. That indicates it's a really firm bottom. I'm happy with that being my spot. Now what I need to do is I need to save that spot. So on the map side of the app, I'm zooming in so I can see exactly where my bait boat is situated. I'm then pushing the pin button at the bottom, clicking save place, and dropping that exactly where my bait boat is and hitting confirm. Now that that spot is saved, I can automatically drive out to it with the bait boat. So let's say I had the bait boat back in, loaded it up with the hopper and wanted to go out to the spot. All I do is I press the spot and then press go to spot. And as you can see, the bait boat is redirecting itself and going straight out to the position. It's accurate to within about half a metre, which is extremely accurate for GPSs. It's one of the most accurate bait boat GPSs out there. Once it arrives at the spot, it stops, and then it's simply a case of dropping the hoppers and clicking the return to home button, and it will drive straight back to me. Yes. Come on, boys. Been watching them all morning, fizzing up out pretty much bang in the middle, put a rod on it, it's gone, but now we're snagged, I can feel it grating. I think we're in the clear now. That was a massive kick in the teeth, waited all morning for that bite and then lose it to a snag. I think he's free now. Oh. Thank God for that. I've been questioning absolutely everything this morning. People have been cashing around me as well. I was really starting to think something was drastically wrong, but yeah, we have got a fish in the net. And he's bigger than the last one. Wicked. Wow, very grateful to have caught this one. Repositioned a few rods this morning over a bit of fizzing. Carried on fizzing, still couldn't get a bite. I was getting a bit perplexed as to why. And then slow little take, pulled up tight, got this lovely mid-20 Royston mirror on the end. This is pretty standard for the type of fish we've got in Nash Lakes Royston. The fish are coming on leaps and bounds since I fished here last, put on loads of weight. Yeah, it's nice to see them in such good condition. Might have time for one more. Going to slip him back, do a few little bits and bobs, see if we can nick one final bite. Right, I think that is the end of the session. I was hoping for one more bite, but sadly it's not come through. Although 2 fish in 24 hours, I don't think it's too bad for on here. Hope you enjoyed watching. If you've got any questions about the deeper bait boat, please let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.